Good afternoon, Asia. Good morning, Europe. It is my great pleasure to welcome you again to the second day of the first ever online conference by Glasstech Asia and Fenestration Asia, powered by BAO and BAO China of the Messe Munich in Germany. After the acquisition of Glasstech Asia by the Messe Munich, the trade show is now part of the unique BAO network organized by MMI Asia and in close cooperation with the Singapore Glass Association. With this, Glasstech clearly underlines its position as the leading glass hub in Southeast Asia and further expands its thematic leadership in the region. My name is Renato and I have the privilege to be your moderator for today. I work for World Architects, a membership-based network of selected contemporary architects and building professionals advocating quality in architecture. We are based in Zurich, Switzerland. Please note that we will switch off your video and microphones. You are very welcome, though, to ask questions during the whole conference via the Q&A box. The most frequently asked questions are answered in our expert discussions or subsequently on glasstechasia.com.sg, where you can also find the detailed program and more valuable information. Allow us first a short summary of what was covered on Glasstech Asia's online conference yesterday. On the topic sustainability, we had very useful presentations regarding windows and glazing for passive house buildings presented by the Passive House Institute in Germany. Further, the German Association of Windows and Facades highlighted the importance of climate protection and sustainabilities of glass and windows. And further, international trends in green buildings were covered by the German Sustainable Building Council, DGNB. And finally, of course, we had HEC Asia Pacific, who was informing in detail about innovative technologies for sustainability. All contributions will be recorded, edited, and soon shown on glasstechasia.com.sg and other websites. As soon as the contributions are ready, the BAO network will announce this on all social media channels. I have now the pleasure to switch to my colleague Koon Por in Bangkok, who will address our Thai audience. Please, Koon Por.
Thank you very much, Mr. Terry. สวัสดีค่ะท่านผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านนะคะกลับมาพบกันอีกครั้งสำหรับการสัมมนาออนไลน์ของเราในวันที่2ดิฉันนางสาวกนกกรอินทัสโรค่ะจากบริษัท Impact Exhibition Management รับหน้าที่เป็นผู้ดำเนินรายการภาคภาษาไทยให้กับทุกท่านในวันนี้นะคะเรามีความยินดีเป็นอย่างยิ่งค่ะที่จะต้อนรับทุกท่านเข้าสู่การสัมมนาออนไลน์ Glasstech Asia Online Conference 2020 ในวันที่18พฤศจิกายนตั้งแต่เวลา 4 โมงเย็นเป็นต้นไปค่ะผ่านระบบ Zoom โดยการสัมมนาออนไลน์ในวันนี้นะคะจัดขึ้นโดย Messe Munich และ BAO by BAO China บริหารการจัดงานโดย Impact Exhibition ค่ะดิฉันขออนุญาตแจ้งให้ทราบเกี่ยวกับกฎกติกาในการเข้าร่วมกันสักเล็กน้อยนะคะหากท่านใดเข้ามาสู่ระบบ Zoom แล้วระบบจะทำการปิดเสียงและภาพของท่านค่ะโดยอัตโนมัติหากท่านมีคำถามระหว่างการบรรยายนะคะของผู้บรรยายในแต่ละเซสชั่นสามารถทิ้งคำถามของท่านไว้ได้ที่ Q&A box ด้านล่างนะคะซึ่งเราจะมีเซสชันในช่วงของการถามตอบอีกครั้งหนึ่งในช่วงท้ายค่ะโดยการสัมมนาในวันนี้ค่ะเราจะเป็นการบรรยายในภาคภาษาอังกฤษทั้งหมดเมื่อวานเนี่ยเราจบกันไปแล้วกับ2หัวข้อหลักนะคะกับเรื่องของ sustainability แล้วก็เรื่องของ real estate market ในประเทศจีนและเยอรมนีซึ่งหัวข้อสำคัญในวันนี้ของเราค่ะก็ประกอบไปด้วย2หัวข้อหลักอีกเช่นเคยค่ะเราจะมาเริ่มต้นกันที่1 Architecture Design นะคะบรรยายโดยเจ้าของโปรเจกต์ The Glass Fortress ผู้เข้าชิงรางวัล Design Award 2019 รวมไปถึงผู้บรรยายต่างชาติที่เป็นเจ้าของโปรเจกต์สำคัญต่างๆในประเทศไทยนะคะอย่างเช่นตัวโปรเจกต์ของไอคอนสยามหรือตัวรูฟท็อปของตึกมหานครเป็นต้นแล้วก็มีอีกหัวข้อหนึ่งค่ะที่ห้ามพลาดเลยกับตัว Data Forecasting และ Market Trends จากผู้ที่ค้ำวอร์ดในวงการอุตสาหกรรมกระจกและอลูมิเนียมนะคะซึ่งเราก็จะได้รับเกียรติการบรรยายจากทางผู้บริหารของบริษัทธาราทอง Metal ตัวแทนจากไทย Aluminium and Glass Fabricator Trades Association ก็จะมาให้ความรู้กับเราเกี่ยวกับเรื่องนี้นะคะซึ่งลำดับต่อไปค่ะปอก็จะส่งต่อให้ทางคุณทริเป็นผู้ดำเนินรายการต่อค่ะ and it's now I will pass to you Mr. Turi thank you
Thank you very much, Koon Por. Before we start with today's program, allow me again a few words on the subject of glass from the point of view of the architecture industry. The material glass as such and all it takes for its production is already fascinating, not only for windows, but also for roofs, stairs, walls or doors, etc., etc. Glass not only protects us from wind and weather, but also gives us great views outside. absolutely essential for architecture is the supply of light provided by glass. Then it is the interplay of light and space, which is essential for the experience of architecture. It is thanks to light that spaces are first perceived in their proportions, structures, and materialization. Bright and dark, clear, mysterious, and beautiful. Light creates room, atmospheres, which are resulting in the wealth of a building. Short and to the point, glass is very important in all forms and facets. The Glasstech online conference, of course, reflects this importance and has to put together an exciting program for yesterday already and also for today with key topics and excellent speakers. But let's get started now with today's program covering the topics architectural design, as well as data, forecasting, market trends, and software. We will be hearing 3 presentations on the key topic architectural design first. I think you all agree we could probably hold an entire conference on this topic. But in summary, architectural design focuses on components or elements of a structure. However, architecture involves beauty, engineering and science, values and beliefs, and as well, and most important, teamwork. And teamwork not only at the architect's office, but also with all partners involved in a project, and of course, today's case, with the glass industry. I have the pleasure now to announce our first speaker who will talk about architectural design. And please join me in welcoming Mr. Andreas Geyer. Mr. Andreas Geyer is the Managing Director of Sele Pty in Thailand, and he will talk about iconic projects in Thailand. Mr. Geyer, we very much look forward to your presentation.
Thank you very much, Renato. Thank you very much, Kunpor. Good afternoon to Bangkok, here from Singapore. Please allow me to share my screen with you now. All right. Let's begin. So good afternoon. My name is Andreas Geyer. I'm Managing Director of Sele's subsidiary here in Singapore, and I am responsible for the Asian Pacific markets. So please first allow me a quick introduction of the Sele Group. The Sele GmbH in Germany and Sele Austria are typical facade contractors as far as the scope is concerned. However, we are highly specialized and focusing on ultra-complex full glass and steel glass projects. Our partner companies within the Sele Group, SEDAC and Sunglass, are glass processors. SEDAC mainly specialized on state-of-the-art supersized glass panels in all possible configurations. Sunglass stands for bending glass in all conceivable shapes. Iconic Skin is a developer and supplier of products for the facade industry, as for example the GSP, a glass sandwich panel. Those of you who have worked with us will know that all of that is happening on the highest possible quality standards. So the range of services we provide are majorly research and development, construction and planning, project and quality management, testing, manufacturing, logistics, assembly and installation. Facade technologies we are using are mainly steel and glass constructions, all glass designs, unitized facades and membrane constructions. Highlight projects here to share with you so you get a little bit of better idea of what kind of projects we are focusing on. To the top left, we have here a Chadstone, a shopping mall in Melbourne, which is a grid shell glass roof, steel glass roof. Top center, you can see King's Cross in London. On the right-hand side, it is Tech Bridge in Toronto. On the left middle, it is a store in Bangkok. In the center middle, we have the Strasbourg railway station. On the right-hand side, then we have Icon Siam in Bangkok as well. Left-hand bottom, it is King Abdulaziz Center for World Culture in Dhahran. In the center, then on the bottom, we have the European Central Bank. And on the right-hand side bottom, we have Canary Wharf in London. So let's talk a bit about glass as a structural element. So in general, we have some different types of glass treatment we always need to have in mind when we do glass construction. So let's have a look what it is. It is float glass, also known as annealed glass, which is a glass that is practically not treated after the float process besides the cutting and such. Then we have the fully tempered glass. Then we have fully tempered glass heat soak tested. to minimize the risk of spontaneous fracture. Then we have heat strengthened glass, which is mainly used for fall protection as balustrades and such. Then we have chemical toughening, which is used if you have a very high visual appearance, or you need it in curved and bended shapes. You can use that technology for toughening the glass. And then we have laminated safety glass, where you can laminate all the different glass types as I mentioned them above. So to keep in mind, the higher the strength of the glass, the smaller the splinters. The larger the splinters, the better the post-breakage behavior in a laminated glass buildup. This is something we always need to keep in mind when we have a deeper look into the following projects. So let's start now with the rooftop viewing platform and glass cylinder on the Mahanakhon project in Bangkok. It is the Mahanakhon project, you all know it, it's the highest building in Bangkok. There is a sky tray on top with approximately 60 square meters glazed floor, which cantilevers out of the building. Then we have here 6 glass panels, each 4 meter by 2.17 m, mounted on the primary structure of that frame. Then we have a glass cylinder consisting of an inner and an outer cylinder with 600 square meters of bent glass. Let's start here with the glass observation platform. As I mentioned, it's 60 square meters. This is what we received in the beginning. We had this visualization here. On the left-hand side, you can see the cylinder again. On the right-hand side, you can see the glass platform. So the first discussions we had, there was a design with a steel member below the glass on the joints of the glass. So we were asked whether we could substitute that steel member here with a glass member to make it more transparent. So our idea was that maybe we could even do it without any support below the glass, just making the glass itself strong enough to withstand the live loads there on the roof. So we have to keep in mind here, it's a multi-laminated glass, and with increasing temperature, the structural strength of this glass is decreasing. So how to determine the structural behavior of that SGP laminated glass panel over temperature? Now, besides the outer temperature you have in Bangkok there, it's also the direct sun impact that needs to be considered, obviously. And the direct sun impact is leading into effects like transmission, reflection, absorption, and in the end, how much of the sun energy is absorbed by the glass. So how much does the glass heat up by that? In absence of any European or Thai code, we used the Hong Kong code of practice to determine the heat gain due to direct sun impact, always in close consultation with local structural engineer and local authorities. After all of that was clarified and the calculations were done, then we started to do the practical testing of the glasses we have calculated structurally here. So we did a permanent loading test. We did the hard body impact testing after the glass broke. With the hard body impact testing, we did a residual strength of the broken test specimen. We did, then on the right-hand side, you see the test specimen after 12 hours of residual strength test. And then this is after all of that was installed. Somebody standing in the glass and looking down 300 meters without any horizontal support below the joints between the glasses. What you can see there along the edge of the glass, this is Seele's so-called glass retention system. It's a special point fixing technology which fixes the glass in the bracketry in order to avoid that in case of a complete glass failure, a complete glass breakage, the glass can slip out of its bracket and fall down with all the people on it. So this would not happen. So even if you have a complete failure of glass and people, the glass full with people standing there, the glass would not slip out, would not fall down. It's absolutely safe. It would just sag down 2-3 centimeters and then stop, and that's it. And all the people can leave the roof safely. Here you see the result. Then after the edges of the glass were cladded, and you can see people have quite a lot of fun there, by day, by night. And now let's have a quick look into the glass cylinder. So this glass cylinder here is a double glass cylinder, an inner and an outer one. And in between the inner and the outer one, we have a spiral staircase, as you can see it here. This staircase, and in the center of the inner cylinder, we have an elevator. So with this elevator or staircase, you go up to the rooftop level where you then reach the observation platform. So now this glass cylinder is not fixed to the construction you see right besides the glass cylinder or behind the glass cylinder there. The glass cylinder is standing completely free. How to achieve that this cylinder can stand completely free without any steel construction or whatsoever? What we did here, we were introducing in each of the vertical glass joints of the outer cylinder, we were introducing tension elements. And these tension elements, they are pulling down the roof. And by pulling down the roof, they are stabilizing the whole construction. So this is a very modern approach, I would say, to build in itself stabilizing glass cylindrical staircase without being fixed and stabilized by any adjacent construction around it. Here you can see some of the structural models we did therefore. Now, and here are some pictures about the installation. We had a wooden scaffold in the central cylinder here. And then here you see how it looked after we finished the whole project. That's a view inside the central cylinder where the elevator is actually going up and down. And on the right-hand side, you see the finalized construction and how transparent it is now, because there is no additional steel construction to stabilize it. So this is the Maha Nakhon rooftop features. Now let's have a quick look at another staircase we did in Bangkok, a staircase over 3 floors at the True Digital Park. Here you have a view of it after it was finished. So again, we have a central glass cylinder here. We have an outer spiral staircase going around, but in this case, we have now no outer cylinder around it. We have only an outer stringer, a glass stringer, and that glass stringer is suspended from the ceiling. So here you have the original architectural concept of it. 250 square meter of glass, 7.5 tons of stainless steel is in the construction here, and 66 steps of etched glass. The structural calculations here, you see the deformation of the structure under wind load applied in X direction here. Even if it's an inside staircase, you still have to apply internal wind load, which what we did here, and you can see the result on the glass structure. Then we did the visualizations. Normally for that kind of constructions, we visualize it and we discuss on that basis then with the client about how it is then executed in detail. So here you see the connection details from the treads to the inner glass cylinder, respectively to the outer glass stringers. Here we go now into the installation and you see how big it is from those pictures. Well, it's a huge, massive staircase over 3 floors. And we are now here attaching all the bracketry around the concrete slab. You can imagine it's extremely important that all this bracketry is done with utmost precision. And then we come up with the inner cylinder. Also, again, a wooden scaffold inside the inner cylinder. Here we go on, and just after we reach the upper floor, we had a glass breakage with the lowest glass in the cylinder. That happens in our business. So we had to change that cylinder. So it's also this lowest glass. So it's also very important that the design is done in a way that you can make sure that glasses can be changed in case of glass breakage. Sometimes this is a little bit in conflict with the architectural idea, because here you can see, for example, the stainless steel ring that is above the glass that was broken. The architect's idea, of course, is to keep the stainless steel ring as small as possible. We want to make this stainless steel ring also as small as possible, but also considering the exchange of the glass. So it is getting sometimes a little bit more than the architect originally wanted, but it's still better to have a bit of a bigger stainless steel hub here, stainless steel ring here, than the alternative. The alternative would be that you have to build down the whole staircase from top to bottom just to change one glass. Now that would be then the result if you made a smaller stainless steel ring here. So you have to consider all of that while you design it, and that's the final result. So here you see now again the stainless steel rings and the size of those stainless steel rings. This size was determined by the option of changing glasses in case of glass breakage without deinstalling the whole central cylinder here. Now, so in my humble opinion, this here is one of the most exciting staircases we ever did. Very, very beautiful in the true digital park in Bangkok. Now let's have a quick look at Icon Siam. I guess all of you being in Bangkok, you know the Icon Siam project. On the Chao Phraya River, it's next to the Hilton Millennium. Here you see a general picture of it from the riverside. And we are talking now about this jagged glass facade you see here in this picture. It's totally 5,300 square meters of this jagged facade. The height of it is around 24 meters for the panels. The glass panels are inclined in two directions, to the outside and to the side. And the front glasses are in between glass fins and also inclined. Now we have 333 glass fins, up to 8-fold laminate here, and we have 333 glass front panels with a length of up to 16 meters. Let's have a look at it. This is the purple one here is the facade we are talking about now. This here is a picture I received first from Bangkok with the question, can you do it? So I've been looking at it and I thought, nah, let's say yes, maybe. So I wrote back, yes, maybe. And 2 days later, I was in Bangkok to discuss the project with the client. And here a long story started then for that project, and a real success story with that project. It's one of the most amazing projects. Again, here the facade, the inclination we have here is around 12 degrees. And in the glass panels, in the front glass panels, up to 14 degrees. This here is some of the shop drawings, and you see the glass fins, the vertical ones, the two, and in between the glass fins we have the front glasses. And on the right-hand side you can get an impression of the complexity we are having here. And since we have this curved plan of the whole facade, you can also imagine an irregularly curved plan. You can also imagine there's zero repetition in all the detailing. So for all of the 333 fins here, we have a different detail with this complexity as you see it here on that picture. Now we go to our glass fabrication. That is a picture into SEDAG, in Seele Group's glass processing plant in Germany, in southern Germany, in Gersthofen. And on the left-hand side, you see a front glass in the production line. And on the right-hand side of the picture, you see one of the glass fins in the production line. Here you see the ready glasses, or glass fins in this case. And here you see one of the glasses going into the autoclave for lamination. It's massively huge glasses. Then now this is the glass fins, and on the top right you can see the stainless steel glass shoes. Those glass shoes will be fixed to the glass fins, and they will be fixed with a special gluing technology. And the big advantage of Seele is that all of this here is fabricated in-house. That means the stainless steel shoes come from our in-house steel workshop in the Czech Republic, Seele Pilsen. Then the glass is produced in-house by SEDAG. The steel shoes, stainless steel shoes, are sent to SEDAG, and within SEDAG, in the factory, we are fixing it to the glass fins themselves, and this is then how they are shipped. So here you see them after the pre-assembly, after the stainless steel shoes are fixed to those fins. Then we go into the packing. Here we do our wooden crates for it, and then the fins are loaded into the crates. And from here we go then to the port, and on the bottom you see the arrival in Bangkok Harbor. Then it goes on site and the installation starts. So here you can see the vacuum lifter, which is specially developed for the project, of course. So the lifter head can be moved in all directions. It can turn and tilt three-dimensionally, which is very, very important. So it's a three-axial adjustment. It's very important because we have to go with the glass inside the gaps between those facades here. And we have to install it in the most odd angles. So here you see we already go along with the installation now. So how to check now the precision of the installation? I mean, it is very important to know that because you want to make sure that there is no overstressing of the glass due to imprecisions in the installation. So besides a conventional survey, we also use photogrammetric methods with a special camera lens with defined focal width and focal length. So we can then overlay the model with the photography. And this is what you see here. And you can see the accuracy is pretty high. Yeah. I go back, I go forward, model and photography. So after all of that is done, you can see now here a very happy chief engineer, Christoph, and a view inside the main lobby of it. Some of the pictures of the finished project, day and night. So that was the Iconceum. And now a very quick look into the Iconceum Wisdom Hall. Wisdom Hall is on top of this luxury facade we just were looking at. This is the triangle here in the roof area. So here what we did is a 80-ton structural steelwork. That is the triangular steel frame you can see, consisting of 64 triangular panels of glass held by 14 tensioned steel cables, stainless steel cables connected at 21 nodes in between. So we were very limited in lifting material up to the roof. There we could maximum lift 3.5 tons. So what we needed to do to assemble this massive 80-ton heavy steel frame here, we had to bring it up in chunks. First, we had to build up a massive scaffold here and a working platform on top of the scaffold. Then we were fixing huge hinges against the construction. You can see them here, the hinges. And then we were pre-assembling that triangular frame by welding it there literally day and night on that scaffold out of these 3.5 ton pieces of steel. So after the welding was done and the triangular frame was fixed and the cable were tensed in between, we were then lifting it up with two cables. Now you can see it on the right bottom side, the lifting process. And at the tip of the triangle, there is then one single bolt to fix the whole triangle in its final position when it's upright. And we want to see that now here. That's the final result of the Wisdom Hall, including the glazed cable facade now. And here you see it from inside. And you can also see the point fixings that are holding the triangular glasses are pretty small. So this is now something that Seele is very well known for, that we are able to minimize all structural elements in such facades. And in order to be able to do so, you really need to know about glass. You know how it behaves, and you know how you can use it in its best efficiency structurally. Another glass facade we did in Asia, that is one in Hong Kong now. We have a quick look into that. That is the Musea K11. It's the design, production and assembly of a 2,300 square meter glass tube facade. It consists of laminated safety glass tubes, 69 of those with a CCF technology, which is a closed cavity facade technology with stainless steel cladding at the ends of the tubes. Here you can see it. We have totally 307 of those glass tubes and 69 with the CCF technology. So this facade, here we have tubes up to 9 meter high and 950 millimeter diameter. The half tubes are connected with aluminum profiles, and each of it is fitted with a polished duplex stainless steel lid at base and at top of it, and touched with the structural silicon there. So for the fully closed tubes, we use this closed cavity facade technology, where we pump in dry and cleaned air in order to, it needs to be clean, of course, so you have no dirt inside those tubes, because you don't want to go inside to clean it, obviously. But secondly, you also need to make sure that there is no condensation inside the tubes. Yeah? And the risk of breakage of the tubes needs to be absolutely avoided, since they are quite expensive. And the damage of a sealing of the tube also needs to be avoided. So we have to make sure that the fixing to the building is created in a way that it can take all the movements of the building, all the lateral movements especially. So that was leading to a very, very complex top detail here, top and bottom detail, to make it movable and flexible enough in order to go with the building along its movements. And since the structural requirements for buildings in Hong Kong are particularly high, the local authorities also required extensive testing regarding and structural calculations, which we did in Gersthofen in our headquarters in Germany. Here you see the test build-up. So thank you for that. Now let's have a quick look into the installation of the Iconseum, or into the making of Iconseum. I have a short film prepared, so I will run it now. The glass processing, engineering of the steel brackets. Here you see one of the brackets. It's massive. The fixing of the stainless steel shoes. Going on its journey to Bangkok. Arrival in Bangkok. Bracket again. In the background, you see the Mahanakhon, which we did at the same time. Here you see the super-sized glass fins up to 20 meter high. And the final product, view from inside and from outside. So thank you very much for your attention, and I give back to Mr. Renato.
Thank you, Andreas, for this great presentation. Really impressive, and it was a pleasure to listening to all the great and seeing all the great projects. And particularly also what I liked is you could also clearly see the elements of beauty, of engineering, of science, and of all the teamwork. Yeah, congratulations. Thank you very much. It was nice to see your presentation. All right. Thank you very much again. And we go straight forward with our next speaker from Thailand, Mr. Jirvit Yamklep. Mr. Jirvit Yamklep is the co-founder of Archismith's company in Thailand, and he will have a presentation on the glass fortress. Please, Mr. Yamklep, we look forward to hearing from you.
Hi, okay. Hello everyone. สวัสดีผู้ชมชาวไทยด้วยนะครับ Thank you for having me here in this exciting event. Today I'll be presenting our project, the Glass Fortress, which is located in Bangkok, Thailand. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Jiravit Yamklip. I'm a co-founder of Archismith, an architectural and interior design firm based in Bangkok. At Archismith, we do love glass for its effect and its forever new appearance. So we like to pick glass as a building material whenever possible and appropriate. Sometimes we use glass as a main element on the facade. For example, in this commercial project, there are 20 panels of black laminated tempered glass. The orientation of the glass panels is alternating on each tier, but the edges are all lined up. The glass panels are fixed only at the center, on bottom and top, leaving the edges free. So it is quite an adventurous detail in a way. Now, let me get back to our main focus for today. The Glass Fortress, by function, is a cell gallery for a condominium project. So in order to understand the idea of the project, you need to understand the main development first, because everything here happens for a reason. The condominium project is called the Line Pohonyotin Park, developed by Sansiri, with the slogan, "Imagination is everything." Let me show you a little bit of the promotional video done by our client. There's this fox roaming around in the forest, and the fox discovered two magical trees turning into a building. You never know whether it's the fox's imagination or yours. The building on various levels simulate conditions of trees from the root to the canopy, turning them into an animal sanctuary. We use the same concept throughout for architectural, interior, and landscape designs. Now, from that video, this is the condominium that we are responsible for the architectural design. Here, one of the strong selling points is a large communal green space of almost 13,000 square meters in front of the building, which is quite rare for new condominium developments nowadays. The architectural design concept is a manifestation of gigantic magical trees rising from the green area below. If you squint your eyes a little bit, you will see a tree pattern on the facade. There were some constraints that prohibited us from building the cell gallery on the main site. It had to be off-site, but luckily not so far away. Our design goal was then set that we wanted to lift this green space up, pack along with us, and put it on the new site to simulate the idea of living with nature. This is the new site for the cell gallery. Let me remind you again that the keyword for the design that we were talking about just now is the word magical. There's nothing magical here. We had so many issues with the surroundings of the new site, not only the noise pollution from the heavy traffic in front, but also some other visual pollutions, such as the construction of the SkyTrain system, untidy footpath, messy wires, advertisement banners, and etc., etc. The question we had was how to create something magical of this. After a few rounds of discussion, we decided that the easiest and most effective way to fix this problem is to just cover our green area with walls, 10 meters tall walls to be precise. And this is how it looks like. Our little secret garden is finally protected. In terms of planning, the building consists of two rectangular blocks. one for main functions such as reception and lobby, show units, model room, and office. And the other one, the tilted one here, contains the secret garden. To get the full experience of the journey, you need to start from here at the front. You are standing in front of the tall glass wall, not knowing what's inside. After you open the door, a lush green garden suddenly appears in front of your eyes. Then you meander through the leisure path to get inside the building. There are two types of garden here. The external one is to create the overall atmosphere of the project, and the one in the courtyard, as I mentioned earlier, is to simulate the idea of living with nature of the main development. The building's orientation is intentionally angled away from the road alignment to create distinction. The solution provides not only a visual break on a dense urban fabric, but also a greenery for the passerby. As you can see from the picture that this is the only green area by the roadside of this neighborhood. The sale gallery sets aside some of its land along the street to become a pocket park for the public, and of course, for the people who are stuck in the traffic jam too. During peak hours, I can probably present the whole slides I have today to the guys inside the car there, because sometimes you can be stuck at the same spot for 20 minutes. And looking at the green patch during traffic jam is definitely not a bad idea. The glass block used for the project are rectangular as opposed to those conventional square-shaped type. They also have extended edges or wings to cover most of the grouting, reducing the width to 2 millimeters instead of 10 millimeters as usual. This special detail reduces the visual perception of joints, thus creating a continuous all-glass effect to the walls. In total, we used about 20,000 glass blocks to build this project. When we were choosing the glass block, there were several types such as clear and smooth, translucent and smooth, but we selected this one with wavy pattern because it can reflect the light better. It allows us to have this shimmering effect when the sunlight hits the glass blocks directly. You can see a glimpse of greenery in the courtyard through glass blocks and the shadow of the trees inside casting on the wall, creating an interesting pixelated pattern. Sometimes it creates an illusion that looks like the shadow on the wall belongs to the tree outside when it's not. The appearance of the building changes according to the conditions of light throughout the day. In the evening, you may be able to see orange tint of a sunset on the glass block. Another challenge is due to the weight of the glass block itself that cannot be erected continuously for too long and too high. It requires structural support at every 4 meters, horizontally and vertically. The solution is to separate the skin out of the bone by laying the glass blocks on steel T-sections that are attached to the main steel structural framework. With the special feature of the glass block material and this structural concept combining, the continuous all-glass effect can truly be achieved, just like the one showing in the picture. Prior to the actual construction, we built a small one-to-one mock-up to test the width of joint, the size and color of grouting and silicone, the transparency and lighting effect. First, another interesting idea and probably one of the most difficult tasks of this project is the fact that the glass block do not form just a straight or L-shaped wall, but a complete loop. This requires advanced planning and great precision since the tight project timeframe did not allow us to make so many mistakes. The special corner block, which is double the height of regular block, helps to complete the looping. The other interesting part is that the glass block wall is a shelter of all conditions. It's a separator of exterior to interior, interior to interior, and exterior to exterior spaces, and the effects of these various types of separation are different. In terms of environmental design, due to the nature of the glass block comprising of 2 layers of glass, theoretically it is similar to double glazing, so it cuts down the traffic noise pollution. The air gap inside can also provide thermal resistance, keeping the building cool. The repetition of glass blocks' horizontal mortar joints help reduce light transmission from the higher summer sun. Rectangular glass block will also cut down the light transmission by double as compared to the conventional square-shaped type. Natural ventilation in the garden is encouraged by the stack effect, caused by lifting the base of the glass block enclosure up to allow movement of cool air to get inside and hot air to rise out through the opening on top. In addition, a water misting system is installed to control the temperature inside the courtyard on sunny days. The atmosphere also becomes magical when the sunlight hits the water mist, creating mini rainbow in the garden. Viewed from outside, this image shows the simple composition of 3 materials: glass blocks, black glass on the left of the picture, and greenery. Since the sale gallery has to last long enough for the sale of the second phase of the main development, which will be many years from now, we choose to use 100% glass materials on this main facade to reduce future maintenance. When the glass gets dirty, you clean it and it looks new again. We also allow some of the greenery to creep up the building as well, in between the black panel glass. Through the glass blocks, the visibility of tree silhouettes is depending on the conditions of daylight. On one side of the facade, you get the dazzling effect of sunlight, while on the other end, you get a light and shadow play. The facade changes its look perpetually following the condition of sunlight and the shifting shadows of trees. This is the view inside the courtyard. To reduce the uncomfortable feeling of being surrounded by massive solid walls, glass block was chosen as the building material, as natural light still can filter through it. The mesmerizing look of the building is carefully crafted by the combination of glass blocks, clear glass, and mirror. These together create different depths of reflection piling up on top of each other. The seamless continuation of interior and exterior spaces. This is the highlight of our activities inside of this building. It is the place to make a decision whether to buy a unit or not. We make this room very bright, visually well connected to the outside, as if you are making a deal in the garden. In this picture, you can see the shadow falls on both interior and exterior walls, as if it is one space. Even the wall inside glows due to the great light absorption capability of glass blocks. The tall ceiling height gives the room airy feeling. You can see out to the sky from inside of this room. The interior space does not feel dark due to the light scattering from the glass blocks. You can still see silhouettes of activities behind the wall and also the garden through the openings on the walls. There is a significant gradation from light to dark, from the garden to the model room. At night, the garden is lit up as magical as a scene from the movie Avatar. A collage of 2 different qualities. On the left, the illuminated crystal box against the traffic tailgate lights on the right-hand side. The glass blocks are illuminated, turning them into a giant glass lantern. Now, let me conclude the presentation with this aerial view. Through contextual design, tactical selection of material, and integration of technology, a true serene microcosm within a chaotic city can be created within these glass portraits. Thank you for your time. Okay, thank you. Back to you, Renato.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so
My
much.
camera is not on yet.
Everyone.
Kunirvid, very great presentation. Many thanks, and
so
beautiful and a smart project, and very well executed. In particularly, I think in a very dense city like Bangkok, and it was great to see all the great pictures. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kunirvid. All right, from this presentation, we'll continue straight away with our next guest from Germany, Mr. Jörg Heinemann. Mr. Jörg Heinemann is manager and founder of Ventura Systems, Heinemann, and he will talk about minimalistic aluminium systems. Please, Mr. Heinemann, we look forward to your presentation.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to introduce you into the fascinating world of minimalistic aluminium systems, including the city window concept 4.0 and green building excellence. Architectural design and sustainability are part of our minimalistic system world. We follow the sequence dream, plan, and reality. Shortly about us, we are a German company. We are specialists in minimalistic aluminium systems. We are focused on minimalistic windows and on minimalistic sliders. Our function is to work as an aluminium system house. About me, I'm Jörg Heinemann. I'm MBA engineer, studied mechanical engineering and economics. And yes, I have a career in the oil and in the automotive industry, followed by 25 years in the window and facade business, being in charge for the companies you see below. And especially my time at Keller Minimar Windows gave me the focus on minimalistic aluminium systems, what for we do in residential towers, hotels, villas, apartments, and any kind of luxury buildings. The picture shows a nice reference for minimalistic aluminium systems, that is Beirut terraces in Lebanon. It's almost 120-meter tall residential tower with 3-meter high sliders, 707 units built in this project. So what are the suitable materials for minimalistic products? Wood, aluminium, and UPVC are not suitable to make out of these materials, minimalistic sliders. We need to have steel or aluminium, and we are talking today about aluminium systems. So what are minimalistic systems? Minimalistic systems are windows and sliders which have a significant lower appearance in the framework than conventional series. Which are the three mega trends in window industry? We see very clearly sustainability, automation, and minimalistic aluminium systems. Starting with the mega trend sustainability, insulation is important even in warm climates when buildings are air conditioned. And cooling is 3 times more expensive than heating. It's important to see that sustainability is not limited to energy savings only. Energy savings by good insulation. Unfortunately, by misuse, the word sustainability is used everywhere and for everything. It is quite important to realize some basics about windows. First, wall insulation is cheaper and compensates lower thermal window performance. Second, insulated glass UG values are always better than UF values of frames. Third, U values itself do not create a good efficient window. Essential is quality, tightness, and a long lifetime. Watch the Ventura wording, green building excellence. And in last point, UF values improved by deeper insulation zones, plus advanced insulation material, plus foam fill. We have here three more basics to tell you. UF value get better by enlarged sightlines. Triple glass, 3 glass itself makes not a good window, and passive house window must not be a good window. This chart is important. Watch. Here we see the influence of insulator depths on UF values of window profiles. You see that the curves are declining, and you see the figures 1, 2, 3, 4 being on this decreasing curve. For each of this, we have a section drawing in the next chart. But important is to watch the red cross, which shows the UF performance of the Ventura V70 profile system. It has a UF value of down to 1.3, which means that everything left from the red cross can easily be replaced by this disruptive profile performing. Everything right from the red cross is very difficult to gain their energy. Here we see now the 4 section drawings corresponding to the chart we have seen before. The chart shows the influence of insulation bars on gaskets on U values. It is clear that with deeper insulators, the frame depth is increasing and the UF value is getting better. Here from the left side, starting with UF values of 3.3 down to 1.5 on the right side with figure number 4. With figure number 4, we see 42 millimeter insulator depths. We see there already SN3 triple glazed used. We see foam insulators, and we see a rebate gasket infill. These are all measures to improve U values. Important is that the Ventura V70 series with only 70 millimeter frame depth creates a UF value of 1.3, which is done with only 34 millimeter depth of insulators. Yeah, facts and potentials. As a resume out of the figures we have seen before, we have a large potential of easy energy savings by substitution of 50 to 65 millimeter frame depths. 50, 55, 60 and 65 millimeter outer frame depths of insulated series lose already significant market shares, even in warm climates. And strong efforts are needed to improve to UF values below 1.3 in direction to 1.0. Saying that UF value limits are given in the region of 1.0, and that requires depths of profiles of 80 to 90 millimeter minimum. It must be clear that we are focusing price increases for deeper and larger framework, despite we have less transparency. So-called passive house certified products show outer frame depths of 80 to 120 millimeter and sidelines between 125 and 200 millimeter. Coming next to green building excellence. Ventura coined the term green building excellence as a new ecological environmental standard for the building industry. There are 3 facts which are implemented in green building excellence. First, the low use of materials in minimalistic systems which conserve natural resources. Second, excellent insulation minimizes energy consumption down to passive house level. And third, outstanding quality ensures a long lifetime. Coming next to the mega trend automation. Here, Ventura plays a role with the city window concept 4.0. Ventura combines innovative products with intelligent building and technology to create green building excellence. What is this in detail? That is, first, surveillance of opening systems. Second, smart home control via climate parameters. Third, smoke heat extraction functions. And finally, shading via EC glasses and according to 5G standard glass. Coming to the mega trend, minimalistic aluminum systems. Here in picture, you see the Ventura V2, a minimalistic slider system with minimum profile, with maximum glass, with maximum view and maximum daylight impact. Key development topics of minimalistic sliders. Let us first mention the topic and then the position of Ventura to each position. Starting with sightline of middle section. The sightline of the middle section should be below or maximum 30 millimeters to name the product a minimalistic slider. Ventura is going for 23 millimeter sightline of the middle section. Roller carrier in sash or bottom. Ventura is going for sash integrated rollers. Zero threshold are gaining significance in the market. Ventura offers zero threshold and standard systems. Bottom build-up. Bottom build-up must be small, but the drainage must be effective. This is a very, very technical, high relevant topic. Insulation. Insulation should be done with wider insulators below or in the glass area zone, not between the glass panes. System technology. System technology is relevant. Ventura has created a super Lego system, which has a family starting with Ventura V1 to Ventura V4 and covering everything from 22 millimeters to 55 millimeters for triple glass applications. Number of parts. This is relevant for an effective production. Ventura has a low number of parts for an effective production. The fabrication time of Ventura is relevant and it is small compared to other systems. Yes, this is a minimalistic slider. It is at about 5.50 meters wide and 3 meters high, and you see hardly the 23 millimeter sideline of the middle section. We have put red arrows here to show it. This is unbelievable, tremendous, good looking. So here we see the Ventura V2 minimalistic slider with section drawings, vertical section with a zero threshold on the left side. You see the horizontal section of the middle part with 23 millimeter center profile. Yes, and that's it. Here we see the minimalistic window systems, Ventura V70. We have here minimum profiles, maximum glass, maximum view, and maximum daylight impact. Showing you in this picture the highlights of the Ventura V70. We have the section drawings, the vertical section drawings on the left side, and in the middle of the picture you see double glass and triple glass usage. We have only 95 millimeter sightline. We have a 70 millimeter system, short and strong 34 millimeter insulation bars. UF values 1.3 to 1.4, and two glasses can be used, double or triple glass. We have no foam insulators which are harmful to human body, and we have an extreme tight system. Now we make a comparison. We compare a passive house certified window with a minimalistic window, and we ask the question, which one will be your efficient window? So what do we have? We have on the left hand side the passive house certified product with a sightline of 175 millimeters, and on the right hand side the Ventura V70 product, minimalistic and with 95 millimeters sightline. We take a unit size of 1.23 meter width by 2.20 meter height. We put in a glass with a UG value of 0.5, and we use a Swiss Spacer Ultimate. What is the result? The result is that the UW value of the passive house certified product is 0.65, and for the minimalistic window it is 0.76. So just a little bit better. But we see that the glass part is 28% and a little bit larger with a minimalistic window. So please make up your mind, what is your efficient window? What is the performance of minimalistic aluminum systems? If you take the Ventura minimalistic products, which have been shown before, you can reach this UW values at about 1.20 with 2 glass and about 0.80 or below with triple glass. For exact data, watch the Ventura website. Yes, it is evident that minimalistic systems win by small frame parts and glass partitions. Concerning the performance of minimalistic aluminum systems, according to our experience, we must say that minimalistic systems require extensive technical know-how, which is only limited to a few number of specialized companies. Secondly, the development of disruptive 70mm window series is more challenging than to improve conventional series from 65 to 75 and then up to 90mm series. There's a clear interaction of two megatrends. On one side, the minimalistic aluminum systems, and on the other side, yes, sustainability with energy savings, low U values, low material use, long lifetime by quality, and recyclable material. High performance minimalistic products show green building excellence. Glass industry and minimalistic series. The glass U value performance powers and promotes minimalistic series. Minimalistic aluminum windows will have a reasonable frame depth of the outer profile from 70 to 80mm. That is a limit which is given for the future. Tempered glass, 2 panes with a weight of at about 40 kg per square meter are reasonable for minimalistic sliders. We can expect UW values of good systems in the range of 1.2, so that is quite reasonable. And the weight of the systems enables manual opening. Next point is quite a revolution. We believe that EC glasses will replace outer wind-sensitive rough stores in a large scale over the next 10 years' time. Future outlook, minimalistic aluminum systems. This is the perfect synthesis of design, function, quality, energy savings, and long lifetime. Minimalistic systems, affordable for a large number of clients. That will be the future. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Heinemann. It was great to listening to all your insight and details about this minimalistic windows. Very interesting. Thank you. Many thanks to all the 3 speakers for sharing their insights with us on architectural design. We have seen some impressive projects and received valuable background information. Thank you all. We will continue directly now with the next key topic: data, forecasting, market trends, and software. The glass industry must be aware permanently about current trends regionally and also globally to be able to identify actual challenges and seize new opportunities. Hence, easy accessible data and appropriate software to evaluate this data are essential to make target-oriented and accurate forecasts. Our 3 next speakers will provide us with insight and know-how on these topics. Please join me in welcoming our first speaker from Thailand, Mr. Karun Ratananavatong. Mr. Karun Ratananavatong is the CEO of Taratong Metal Company Ltd and Vice President of the Thai Aluminium and Glass Fabricators Trade Association. Kun Karun, we look forward to your presentation. Thank you very much for being with us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Karun. Today, I'd like to share about Thailand market. As you know that the COVID-19 has come to affect every business around the world. Thailand also have a Thai come to change lifestyle and come to change life cycle of business to come to like change everything, make it faster. The past 3 years, there's many buyers from foreign countries that keep condominium market booming, housing market booming in Thailand. The biggest buyer from China. So after lockdown, every activity, every demand almost stopped. Even foreigner want to come, is that not possible to make it. So the demand for condominium is gone during COVID-19. That's make a lot of developers stop the project, stop new project, but only the continuous project need to go on because have to finish the project this year. But for the next year, there's still many projects postponed and still wait to see the market is coming back or not. The GDP of Thailand will drop this year to -5 and hopefully coming back next year at 4 and 3.5 in next 2 years. This one show that Thailand economic has affected a lot of by COVID a lot and also affected by the recession. Let's see the Thailand property outlook. This year, the property price is dropped around 2.4%. We hope that it's coming back up to 5.6% the next year. This year is a good opportunity for the buyer to invest. But as you see, Phuket Island is a positive for this year and next year. Many investors still looking for buying the property in Phuket. That means there's a lot of demand and looking for the Thailand property that is good for investment. And also lucky that Thailand has a good position on during COVID-19 because we have controlled the COVID-19 very well. And there's no surprise that the resident price will drop this year because of the COVID-19. Anyway, the property price expect to coming back by the end of 2021. And there's a lot of demand on the next year. So that keep continuous aluminum demand still going to be okay for the next year. And the major trend with the Thailand economic for the 2025, as you know that Thailand also have demographic shift, climate change. As this year we face a lot of typhoon and storm depression. So aluminum we are developing right now is for the good system. As we know that Thailand aluminum we use the profile as a mass market from 30 years ago. Now many companies come to Thailand with the new system. As we see the previous presentation, you see that now everything has changed and now it's impact a lot of indoor system for Thailand market as well. We are continuous to improve the system as a local because the local aluminum we still use the old-fashioned unchanged the system. This would help us speed to change in the next 5 years.
Hello everyone, maybe his internet connection is unstable. ขออภัยทุกท่านนะคะ อันนี้น่าจะมีปัญหาที่อินเทอร์เน็ตของคุณการุณนะคะ อาจจะหลุดไปเดี๋ยวถ้ายังไงเราจะส่งต่อให้ทางมิสเตอร์เรนาโตเลยนะคะ Okay, alright, Mr. Renato, could you please like show up on the live screen for the next session, please? Thank you.
Yes, I'm here. So I hear the internet connections Kun Karun is not very well, so I hope we can get back to him soon later once it's better again. So I would like to welcome our next speaker in that case, which is Mr. Dang. Mr. Dang is the Vice Chairman of the Vietnam Glass Association. And very welcome, Mr. Dang. And his presentation will be about the ASEAN glass industry, challenges and new opportunities. Mr. Dang, the screen is all yours and we look forward to your presentation.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Dang. Welcome.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, welcome. Thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. So today I would like to share with you some our information of challenge and also our opportunity in the new normal after the COVID-19. So as you see in our report, we will very quick show off the impact from COVID-19 to ASEAN economic efforts from ASEAN government and ASEAN glass industry fact and figures, and COVID-19 the challenge to ASEAN glass industry specialized in flat glass, and the last but not least, ASEAN glass industry opportunity, a new opportunity in the new normal. As you see, ASEAN economic was downturn due to the COVID-19. A lot of the ASEAN country have been affected by COVID-19. As you see, a lot of country here, right? So you can see the table that the initial forecast and the revised forecast will be very different. And because of the COVID-19, a lot of the government, they issue a lot of policy, fiscal stimulus package, monetary policies to help the business coming back. I think the ASEAN government have tried to control the spread of the COVID-19. They issue a lot of economic stimulus package to support to SMEs and also encourage to restructure investment in new technology and free trade agreement implemented. And now I would like to talk about the challenge to ASEAN glass industries. First of all, I would like to show you some fact and figure of the ASEAN glass industry, specialized in the flat glass roof. Here's the ASEAN manufacturers factors. Among these, we will see the flat roof take about 40% of the whole manufacturer sector of ASEAN countries. And the figure 2, you can see the total installed capacity ton per year, in which the flat glass roof we have 4.5 million tons per year. So the capacity is very huge. And this figure, I would like to show you how many plants, how many furnaces in ASEAN countries. So totally we have for the flat glass roof, we have 22 plants, 27 furnaces in our among ASEAN countries. And this figure, I would like to show you how the capacity installed comparison by countries between Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, and Thailand. Here you can see Vietnam take 21%, Indonesia 32%, Malaysia take 17%, Philippines only 4%, and Thailand is 26% of the flat glass capacity. So what is the effect from the COVID-19 to ASEAN glass industries, especially in flat glass. As you see, the nationwide lockdown made the impact on the glass industry. Even the energy price was reduced in the short term, but still be a major obstacle for the industry, while the demanding of the flat glass has not recovered. Some of our glass manufacturers have to shut down for repair or maintenance. And the impact on the flat glass demand, particularly not only slowdown in the building construction activity, but also the pandemic triggered production shutdowns and the supply chains disruption during the initial strict enforcement by the government. The demand on OEM motor vehicle and solar energy market has dropped significantly due to the slow market sentiment. Indonesia flat glass market was good last year and supported by property and automotive industry. But this year, due to the pandemic and strong competition from overseas product produced in Malaysia, China, the market has been slow. Vietnam processing glass market was dropped about 30 to 40% during the COVID-19. And one of our biggest flat glass manufacturers have to shut down for cold repair. Thailand flat glass market is growing in slower pace for this year. Once compared to the last year, anyway, still keep in line with the latest economic GDP growth forecast by NESDC of minus 7.5%. And here is, I want to show you some pictures of in Asia countries, how the sharing of the revenue share by country in Asia country. Mostly China take the biggest revenue shares, and the rest of ASEAN Pacific take about 11% solely. And here you can see the revenue shares by end user industries. And you see the construction take 30% compared to other end user industry and automotive. I would like to show you some opportunity of the flat glass. This is the forecast from 2020 to 2025. So you see the Asia country and ASEAN country as well is in very high demand for the flat glass compared to other region. So I would like to show you some key point why we see the opportunity in the new normal time. In ASEAN, Asia region, the flat glass market is expected to reach CAGR over 4% over the forecast periods. The growing demand for electronic display and increasing demand from the construction industry are driving the market. On the flip side, fluctuating raw material price and the impact of COVID-19 on the market study are hindering the growth of the market. Advancement in automotive industry is expected to offer various opportunities for the growth of the market in the near futures. ASEAN Pacific region is expected to account for the largest share of the global flat glass market, with the largest consumption coming from the country like China, Japan, ASEAN country, etc. And the opportunity for other ASEAN countries, majority of the flat glass demand is still coming from the building sector, which is accounted for more than 80% of the market. The flat glass manufacturers in Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, even during COVID-19 period, but they have been in progress of setting up new production lines with high glass quality product and bigger quantity to prepare for the market recovering. And what we see is an opportunity after the COVID, and the new normal is consumption stimulation. Example, flat glass consumption is the most significant stimulated by the end user segment in the market, particularly construction, automobile, solar energy industries. Product innovation and branding. For example, glass should widely promote as smart eco-green building material beside the traditional architecture design need. Body tinted fruit glass is a new type of glass in which molten dye are added for coloring, having solar radiation absorption properties. This type of the glass save energy, reduce the fenestration of the heat into the buildings, and offers a striking visual effect, should stimulate the demand. Therefore, the combined with the adoption of the smart and energy efficient technologies as advanced construction practice have a positive influence on the request for the flat glass. The third, we believe after the COVID-19 and in the new normal, the government will support on the large scale project, and it is a huge opportunity for the flat glass, to develop. The Asia Pacific construction sector has grown steadily with the government support on the large scale development project prior to the pandemic outbreak of the COVID-19. The presence of such rapidly growing in economies, urbanization, and increased infrastructure spending should be resumed immediately in order to continue stimulate the demand and the consumption. And last but not least, the free trade agreement has been implemented strongly and widely recently. In my last word of this presentation, I would like to say that thank you for the last presentation of the architect. We believe that the flat glass will continuously develop despite of the pandemic, and we will have a lot of opportunity to develop in the new normal. And thank you for attention, and stay strong together. Thank you, Mr. Renato.
It's me who have to thank you, Mr. Deng. This was a very good presentation. Thank you very much for your for these insights on the challenges and opportunities in the ASEAN region, and very useful and interesting information, not only in your region, I guess. And but still, I can see or hear between your lines that the opportunities are bigger than the challenges, and it's good to stay positive also in these times. Thank you very much again, Mr. Deng, for your presentation. We'll continue to our next speaker, who is Dr. Thomas Reiner. Dr. Thomas Reiner is the head of operation and development from Hegla Boradent GmbH in Germany, and his presentation will be about laser structuring of coated glass surfaces for functionalization. Thank you, Dr. Thomas Reiner, for being flexible and being here already a bit earlier, and we very much look forward to your presentation.
Thank you for the introduction. Hello and welcome. My name is Thomas Reiner. I'm the head of operation and development of the Hegla Boradent. And since 20 years, my passion is the interaction of laser radiation with the material glass itself. And thank you for joining my webinar, Laser Structuring of Coated Glass Surfaces for Functionalization. I will go through this lecture. At first, I will say some words about the idea behind this topic. Then I will explain some examples of functionalization of glass surfaces, say some words about technology, and then summarize. Okay, the idea behind it. We saw there are a lot of semi-finished products available in the market. That means especially coated glasses. And if we use the laser as a tool, like a CNC machine with different drillers, it is possible to create new function in this coatings and then create new glass products, innovative, customized, and profitable. And so we have the possibility to add additional value to the final finished product. And we do so, then we need a machine. You see here in the right side a typical machine, the so-called Laserbird. It's a multifunctional system. That means we can do different things on different products on this machine with different tools inside this machine. And important is that we can handle different glass types. That means coated float glass as well as coated safety glass, coated laminated glass, and in the final end IGU units too. And as I mentioned, we can do different glass products with different glass technologies. And behind these technologies, different lasers or laser parameters. We are very flexible in production. And if we use lasers to modify the coating, then we have a very material-friendly technology. That means we have no stresses or cracks inside the glass surface itself. We modify only the coating. And the system is an open system. That means for future, we can add new technologies as well as the hardware for these technologies inside this Laserbird system. So let me say a lot, or tell about examples for this functionalization. If we handle with such a machine, it's very easy to do it. It's like to use your smartphone. Yes, you have different applications inside the machine, and the operator has only to choose the different apps, and then he can produce different products like bird-friendly glass or cell phone-friendly glass. And I will explain a little bit more some applications possible to do with such a machine. At first, in our days, communication is very, very important. There's one problem if we are sitting in a train or in a building. The windows have always a heat damping function, and this is caused by a layer system on one side of the glass panes, and there's minimum one metallic layer inside these coatings. And the metallic layer is very good for the heat damping function, but not good for the communication. He blocks the radiation of the cell phones. And what we do to solve this problem is we make a magic pattern. You can see it here, very fine lines to remove the coating. And with this pattern, it's possible to open the window for the communication. And this is a very aesthetic pattern. You can see here in the photo very hard this pattern. So the look from inside to outside, there's no problem. You can't see these lines. And so the communication inside the building is possible for the frequency bands 3G, 4G, 5G, and future for 6G too. It's a very important thing, and it's only possible to do this with the laser as a tool. The next example I will show you, it's a very huge and global problem. Millions of birds were killed at the glass facade. The problem is that the birds think they can fly through, or they see in reflection a tree in the glass facade, and then hit the glass, and in the most cases they died. What we can do to solve such a problem, there are two possibilities. One possibility is if you have a coating on outside on position 1, maybe a paralytic coating, an easy to clean coating or something like this. Then with the laser, you can remove a pattern in or a coating and make pattern inside this coating. I don't know, it's possible to see here are circles in the photograph made by laser, and this pattern is very good to see for the birds, because the birds see more as we human. They see in the UV region too. And for the birds, the contrast here hard to see is nearly black-white. And so the birds see this glass pane and avoid to hit this. There's a second possibility: if you have no coating on the outside of such a window, then it's possible to print with the laser such a pattern on the glass facade, as you can see here. in this example, and then the birds don't hit this glass. And so we can avoid this effect that birds are killed in the facade. The third example I will show you is a special thing if you have conductive coating on the glass surface itself. If you scribe or remove lines in this coating, then it's possible to make circuits inside such a coating. And then if you put voltage on it, it's possible to heat up this coating, and you have an area heating up device. You can use this device in interior. You see here an example for bathroom, or in outside. If you have an overhead glazing, you can reduce in the wintertime this amount of the weight of the snow if you melt the snow by heat up this window. And the third example is refrigerator. There is a fog up effect. You can avoid this fog up effect if you heat up the glass pane. The fourth example I have to show you is for the field of architectural glass. Sometimes we have facades, so-called structural glazing. There are usage of a so-called step IGU unit. That means one pane of this step IGU unit is larger, and there's a need to remove the low E or sun protective coating at the edge in a wide range, 50 millimeter up to 100, 200 millimeter, to bring then ceramic color on it and clamp on this region the whole glass product in the facade. And this removal of the low E or sun protective coating you can easily do with mechanical tools, of course, but the disadvantage is that you can see then stripes of these tools in this region, and it's not the fine, good aesthetic thing. With the laser, it's possible that you remove this low E or sun protective coating in a very, very fine way with a high optical quality. The only disadvantage is it takes a little bit longer in comparison to mechanical tools, but it's a very aesthetic product, and it saves at the end of the day delivery times, and so you are very flexible if you produce structural glazing. In the next example, this is a good example to combine laser technology with traditional glass processing technologies like screen printing. You see here in the photo screen printed glass with black screen printing. In the first stage, the glass was fully printed. And then with the laser, we drilled holes inside this coating. You see here the cross section of this glass. These are the black color, and the holes drilled by laser. This is this area here. And then you have an effect, a shadowing effect, and it depends on the stand on the sun. And I can show you this in this short movie here. You see the effect of the shadowing. It depends on the angle of the illumination. It's a very good example for the combination of laser technologies with traditional glass processing technologies. So all these examples I showed you examples to remove, to modify the coating the glass surface itself. The next examples are bring material to uncoated glasses. It is possible to print with the laser material to the glass surface itself. It's like the technology is like an old typewriting machine. You use material coated with a special coating and transfer with the laser as a hammer in this old typewriting machine the coating to the glass surface itself. And so if you have a conductive coating, then you can print alarm circuits as well as if you have metallic films, you can decorate the coating, and so at the final end, if you have silver irons, for example, then you can bring antibacterial function to the glass surface itself. These are examples what we can do with the laser, remove coating, add a new material to the glass surface itself, and create new functions. And if we do so, then we have to control it's okay. And what we do, have is an optical scanning system where we see what happens, removal or the modification of the coating, and it's a very good quality control. Then we use sensor systems to see is a removal fully or not. You see here the example with a coated glass with different stripes, and these are the sensor signals, and you see the first stripes are very good because they are behind this over this green line, and the other looks similar, but this sensor signal says it's bad from the removal here. The last example is a multifunctional test. If you have a conductive coating, here is an example with a coated glass surface. The glass is fully patterned, and you see this in the special sensor system. You see the pattern, and you see here we have removed the coating. You see the error inside the coating, and we think it's very good to have in control. Technology, we have the machine with the loading unloading area, with the device, with the safety chamber, with climate device and exhaust device for the removal of coating with different material flows. And of course, if you have a lot of paints to structurize, we have automatic loading with such a hard brake system. And before we can pattern, then it's possible to create a layout for the machine. In the most cases, the layout came from the architect, and with a preparation work software, we can transfer this layout with some clicks to a layout of machine readable. And the first 3 stages are in the office, and of course the laser bird stands in the shop floor and process the glass itself. So I show you a lot of possibilities we can do, and I'm sure in the future we have possibilities to make new things. And I will summarize my lecture with a small movie you can see here. Have a few insight. The laser bird, you see here the HMI of the laser bird, to choose application. Put a glass pane on the entry conveyor, goes inside the laser chamber, and then we have the patterning process step by step. Here you can see this is a patterning process. This is the glass pane itself, and on the blue line, then the laser is working on this pattern. And after he is finished, then the glass goes automatically out of the system. And so you can see here the glass pane goes inside the chamber. And then we have a look inside this chamber. We see the laser is working. We have the laser head. And in this possibility, we have one laser on the structuring head. And the empty holes here, there's a possibility to add the same laser twice or different lasers to make different things. And now the laser is working. In this case, we structurize a bird-friendly structure in the coating, in the pyrolytic coating of a glass pane. And it's very hard to see. If we go closer a little bit, we see the points that avoid that birds hit the glass surface. And so we can make clear markings, bird-friendly glass, cell phone-friendly glass, and we can avoid collision in the air. And at the final end, if we bring material then to the glass surface itself, we can make antibacterial functions inside the glass surface itself. This is all what I have to say about laser functionalization of glass. And if you have any questions, then don't hesitate to ask us, write an email and go in contact to us. Thanks for your interest to our webinar, and you are welcome to ask things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reiner. Thank you very much for this great presentation, and good to see how your laser structuring adds great value to the glass industry, and of course also for the architecture industry alike. And at the end, of course, it's very important also for all the birds. I think they're also very grateful for what you're doing. It was very interesting to see this presentation and to learn all the insights about your company. Thank you very much, Dr. Reiner. Thank you. And you'll be a part of the expert discussion afterwards, and I think there'll be questions afterwards. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you to all the three speakers for their presentation. It was a pleasure listening to your explanations at all. We move straight on now to an experts discussion moderated by my colleague Adrian Goh. Adrian is Managing Director of Yongmeng Ltd and a member of the Executive Committee of Singapore Glass Association. Adrian, thank you a lot for hosting the following panel, and please, the stage and screen is all yours.
To all the speakers and also to the panelists and to all the participants that has been with us for the past almost 2 hours. Let me see what questions we have for today for the Q&A session. Okay, the first question is from Mr. Malcolm Tan, and it's directed to Mr. Andreas.
Yes.
Andreas Geyer. Okay. When do you decide to use tempered heat soak glass for your projects? The decision is by the clients or by CEMIC?
Yes, that's a good question. I mean, we generally, if we have fully tempered glass, we always have it heat soak tested. Now, we never go into a risk of a spontaneous glass breakage. That's generally not advisable, and we don't take that risk. So we have cases, of course, where very cost-sensitive clients are asking to save that money for a heat soak test, but we don't do it. It's either with heat soak test or we cannot do the project. But what we can try to do to solve the problem is to check in how far we can use heat strengthened glass instead of fully tempered glass. And this is coming nowadays more and more. As more and more projects and applications are using heat strengthened glass instead of fully tempered glass. And if you are using heat strengthened glass, you do not need heat soak testing anymore. So this is the way to go. If you have a way to avoid fully tempered glass structurally and substitute it with heat strengthened glass, that's your way to avoid that additional cost of heat soak testing. That could be a compromise then. So this is what we normally do.
Thank you, Mr. Geyer. So maybe the same question I can also ask Mr. Yamkit, being a designer, architect. Do you all specify heat soak glass all the time now, or you still go with just tempered?
I think depends on the scale of the project that we are doing. Mostly, we have a few big projects, but most of our projects are still either small or medium scale. So most of the time, we just use tempered glass. I have to compare between the two.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yamkit. Right, we have a next question. It's also to Mr. Yamkit. By Kai Kajay. So sorry, pardon me if I pronounce the name wrongly. Any other project or coming project of yours that use glass as the main design element?
Yes, but not to this extent. I think this kind of project that I have shared with you guys won't come so many times, in a lifetime, maybe a few of them. And because there's so many factors, not only depending on us, sometimes you can have the best idea, but if the clients don't agree with you, or even if they agree with you, but they don't have the budget, then the thing won't happen. But in any case, like I was mentioning at the start of the presentation, that at our office, we like to use glass because, to us, we love it because it always looks new. When you have a blank wall and then you paint it, after a few years, you have to repaint it again. But with the glass panel, when it gets dirty, then you clean it, then it looks new again. So we try to squeeze in, some glass in every of our projects, whenever possible and appropriate.
Next, we have another question also by Mr. Malcolm Tan. This is to Mr. Pang. Okay, with the recent signing of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, the RCEP, on 15 November by 15 countries, mainly ASEAN countries. Okay, this is arguably the largest free trade agreement in history. Do you see an increase in the demand for import and export of flat glass due to the signing of this RCEP?
Yes, thank you for your questions. As in my presentation, I also show you the demand of the whole world of the flat glass, right? So you see the Asia Pacific region, the demand is very high. I believe with the 15 countries, with the population about 30% of the world, and take 30% of the global GDP. So the demand of export and imports will be very high. The key point is now not only in Vietnam but also in Malaysia, in Indonesia, new glass manufacturers have been in process of to set up a new factory, new glass manufacturer factories, and are being setting up and prepare for the new products. Yeah, the demand is very high. The export and import will be very strongly exchanged. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tang. Have another question from the participant, from Mr. Benjamin Lim. This question will be to Mr. Rainer. Okay. Just to confirm, the laser is primarily used to remove the coating on the glass and will not etch into the glass. Please kindly advise.
Yes, we use special laser wavelengths. It's only an influence or modification interaction with the coating. It depends a little bit on the coating type. But if you hit this laser with this wavelengths to the glass, to the uncoated glass, there's no influence, no interaction. And so we are sure that we no scratch or bring stresses inside the glass surface itself. Yes.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the participants? Okay. So far, I don't see any. Okay. If not, I may have a question myself. Same thing. This is to Mr. Rainer. I think in the part of your presentation, you presented the laser pattern print on the glass where it helps to enhance the reception for mobile phones and transmission, right? And it's hardly noticeable. Then what about data that is sensitive and then it requires, people to block the data, to block those data?
Okay, if you block it, then you have no need to structurize it, because what I mentioned is a normal window blocks the communication because of the heat damping layer inside. That's in most cases conductive layer, metallic layer, and so it's very hard if you're sitting in a train without a repeater. Then you have no communication to the outside of the train, for example, and only if you open a little bit this metallic film with fine lines and special pattern, then it's possible to have a communication inside. But the normal thing is, the normal effect is you have no communication or damped communication inside buildings or trains without lasering this coating. Yeah.
Okay, actually the concern here is more for electronic eavesdropping. So people, buildings with sensitive data, that they need to block the building electromagnetic.
Possibility too. Yes, of course. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me see, any other questions from the floor? I don't see any question. Okay, then I have a bigger question myself that may require a few of you to answer. Okay, this question is on sustainability. Glass is supposed to be a sustainable, fully recyclable material. which provides great environmental benefits such as contributing to mitigating climate change and saving precious natural resources. But more and more glass used for the future buildings will either be, number one, coated or chemically treated for greater thermal protection. Number two, laminated glass for safety purposes or for greater thermal and sound protection. And lastly, number three, double glazed unit or insulated glass unit for greater thermal and sound protection. All the three categories of glass that I just mentioned cannot be recycled through traditional means. To date, it can be done, but the process is extremely tedious and expensive. So then the question is, if we are going to use more of this glass in the future, is using glass still really considered as a sustainable option? Maybe we will get Mr. Gaida to answer. You can.
In Europe, there's a law, I think to 2025, you have to recycle all this mentioned glass products. And so I see in the machine building industry, there are some ideas to make it possible to recycle laminated glass as well as IGU units in a industrial way. That means not so cost intensive way. And I'm really sure that we have technologies in 2 to 3 years that we can recycle this type of glass products in a very fine way. And
yeah, absolutely. And this actually applies for all composite materials we are having. It's not only the laminated glass, it's also about the aluminum framing of windows, where we are combining aluminum with insulation bars of different materials. All of this composite and connected materials need to be separated for the recycling process. And exactly as Dr. Reiner just mentioned, this is a task for the machinery industry to come up with equipment that make this kind of recycling easy as possible, and as highly automized as possible, and they will come up with these solutions. I also don't see a very big challenge in that.
Hopefully, these machines and technologies will happen soon, because currently, like in Singapore, recycling the three mentioned glass are still actually still discarded.
At the moment, we are not there yet, but this will happen, I'm sure.
Let me look at the Q&A. It's from an anonymous audience. Can bird-friendly glass be certified? I think this question is to Dr. Weng.
Yeah, okay. Yes, it depends a little bit on the region in the world. There are a lot of organizations to do so. One example for the US, because there are a lot of laws to have to use bird-friendly glass. There's one organization, the American Bird Conservancy. They test such glass products, and then they certify this glass product. Yeah, this is the normal way to do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, another question also from another anonymous attendee. How do you reduce carbon emissions during glass manufacturing, since it uses the most energy and numerous transportation modes? Right. Any gentleman who would like to answer this question?
Well, I mean, for this question, there is no easy answer, because the whole production process is so complex that you can only improve this whole process in all of its aspects. Now you have to start from the beginning of the floating process of the glass to make it as energy efficient as possible. The whole chain down to processing the glass, later milling, drilling, tempering, using the autoclave for lamination, and so on. All of these processes down the line need to be created in an energy efficient way. That means you need to invest in modern machinery in order to achieve that. Highly insulated machinery that have a minimized energy loss along the production process. So there is not a single thing you can do, and with that you have settled it. You really have to go through the whole production process of glass, and each and every process have to be optimized energy-wise. That's the only thing you can do there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gaya. Okay, any other questions from the participants? Okay, no more. Oh, okay. Yes, there's another question from Wan Leong Lim to Dr. Rainer. Laserbird is used to remove coating before tempered or after tempered?
Well, both is possible. Depends very strongly from the application or for the function if you want to reach. But both is possible. You can remove the normal spattered coatings before and after the toughening process. Yeah. If you use paints or something like this, is a little bit another way. Then it's better to do it before furnace because then there's no so strong bonding between the paints and the glass surface itself. But for sputtered coating, low E, sun protecting coating, and so on, it's possible to do both before and after tempering. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rainer. Okay, I think we are out of questions.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you to all the speakers and panelists for the Q&A sessions. And also thank you to all the questions that has been asked and also the valuable answers. Okay,
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Adrian, great.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Kun Jiravid. Thank you, Mr. Dang. Thank you, Mr. Geyer. Thank you, Dr. Reiner, for being with us. It was great to listening to you, and thank you for your presentations. Thank you, Adrian, for moderating the experts panel. That was very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Actually, the entire online conference of Glasstech Asia was interesting and encouraging. We all agree that nothing replaces a personal contact, but I believe we made the very best out of the current situation. Yes, you heard correctly, the conference comes to an end, and thanks for being with us in such great numbers during the past 2 days. We would like to thank all the speakers for their great presentations during this conference, but also thanks to all the people behind the scenes from Impact in Bangkok, and of course all the staff involved from MMI Asia, the unique BAO network containing the BAO Munich, BAO China, and Digital BAO. Please make sure you already plan your Glasstech 2021 held in Bangkok again from November 16th to November 18th, 2021, and all other events from the BAO network around the world. Again, just a reminder, all contributions will be recorded, edited, and soon shown on glasstechasia.com.sg and other websites. As soon as the contributions are ready, the BAO network will announce this on all social media channels. I have the pleasure now to switch again to my colleague Kun Por, who will address our Thai audience to say goodbye as well. Please, Kun Por.
Thank you very much, Mr. Churi. แล้วนะคะวันสัมมนาของเราในงานนี้นะคะก็จบลงเป็นที่เรียบร้อยแล้วค่ะดิฉันในฐานะตัวแทนของงาน Glasstech Asia Online Conference 2020 ต้องขอบพระคุณวิทยากรทุกท่านนะคะรวมไปถึงผู้เข้าร่วมฟังทุกท่านด้วยค่ะและที่สำคัญค่ะต้องขอบคุณเมสเซ่มูเชนและเป่าby BAO Chinaที่รังสรรค์งานดีๆแบบนี้ให้เกิดขึ้นในประเทศไทยนะคะแล้วเจอกันใหม่ค่ะกับกิจกรรมหน้าของเรารวมไปถึงขอฝากงาน Glasstech Asia 2021 และ Fenestration Asia 2021 งานแสดงสินค้านานาชาติเพื่ออุตสาหกรรมกระจกอลูมิเนียมผนังที่จะจัดขึ้นที่ประเทศไทยนะคะในช่วงปีหน้าณ Impact เมืองทองธานีไว้กับทุกท่านด้วยถ้าไงวันนี้ทีมงานต้องขอตัวลาไปก่อนนะคะแล้วพบกันใหม่ค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
It is time to say goodbye to you now, and we look forward to seeing you in Bangkok next year. Thanks again for participating. Stay safe, healthy, and happy. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.